Congratulations if you're getting married, and I have a gift for you. I'm gonna show you how to create a web page for your wedding so that your guests can send in their RSVP. And if your friend is getting married and you take the initiative to build them a website, they will remember you forever. So I've created this tutorial showing you step by step on how to create a page like this from scratch using Gutenberg blocks. We have this preloader animation and then a hero section like this, and if we click on this button to discover the location, it will bring us to this section that has a countdown timer, and if the guest needs a place to stay for the wedding, they can expand this and make a booking. And then we have a story section where you showcase how the couple met or how you and your spouse met. And then we have the photo gallery here. If we click on this, we will have an enlarged version of the image, and then we have a slider gallery as well. The groomsmen section that introduces who are the groomsmen. It could be you. And we have the bridesmaid section as well. And then we have the gifts section, and finally the RSVP section that has all the information required, like the food requirements and the preferred drink, plus a Google map. We also have the sticky menu. If we click on the items, it will bring us to the specific section of the page. Now, everything that I did on this tutorial is free, but the only thing you have to pay for is the domain and web hosting. In this tutorial, I'm not going to show you how to buy and set up web hosting. I feel that it is an easy task and could be taken care of by the support team of the web hosting provider, so I don't want to waste your time going through that. But in case you want me to recommend a cheap and fast web hosting provider with really good support, I recommend A2 Hosting because they are the fastest. You can use this link to check them out. One disclaimer though, on a wedding site, I'm not focused on site speed because it doesn't need to rank on search engine, so I didn't do any optimization at all. So in case you speed junkies come at me, don't, okay? I'm a page speed junkie where it needs to be. I don't need it to be in everything. And without further ado, let's get started. Okay, let's get started creating this wedding site. As you can see over here, this is the blank WordPress install, and on the left, this is the WordPress backend. So whatever that is happening on the backend, when we save and refresh it on the live page, the changes will show. This is my usual setup when building sites with Gutenberg. So the first thing we have to do is to install a theme, and the theme that we are going to use is Blocksy. So let's go to Appearance and let's click on Themes, and then let's add new. And over on the search bar, let's search for Blocksy. So let's install this theme and then let's activate it. Now the next thing you need to do is to install this Blocksy companion, because this will unlock more design options for you. But don't worry about this is totally free. You can click on allow and continue, or you can just skip this. Cool, we have set up the theme. The next thing we need to do is to install some plugins. So let's go to plugins and add new. Let's search for Stackable. Now this version of Stackable is 2.0. and it was last updated 2 months ago. By the time you're watching this video, I believe Stackable 3.0 will already be live. So I'm not going to work on Stackable 2.0. I'm going to install Stackable 3.0 manually. But by the time you're watching this, you should be able to just install and activate Stackable 3.0 here. So don't mind what I'm doing here. Let me install this and activate. Now if you have the Stackable Pro license, you can add it here. It gives you a ton of different features like the motion effects and dynamic content, and it will make your site look more amazing. But if you don't have the license and you want to get Stackable Pro, you can use this link with this code to get a 10% discount. Anyway, in this tutorial, we are keeping everything simple. We will just use the free version of Stackable. So I'll just click on this, activate free version, and we'll skip this. And here we go. Let's get started. I'll keep all this checked so that I can use all the blocks. Let's click on next and we're done. We still have a couple more plugins to install. So let's go to plugins and add new. Over on the search bar, let's search for Gutenberg. Let's install this and activate. Now the reason why we need to install an additional Gutenberg block plugin is because Stackable do not have blocks like the countdown timer or the timeline you see from the start of the video. And that's why we need this. Now over here, let's go to settings. Let's go to blocks. Now over here, we don't really need a lot of blocks because in Stackable, we already have them. So let's toggle all this off. We'll be using advanced columns, although Stackable has this, but I'll just keep this on and I'll explain to you why as we go through this tutorial. We'll keep carousel on as well, the gallery as well. And as for the widget, we'll keep the countdown widget on as well as the timeline widget. So cool, there's one more last plugin we need to install. So let's go to plugins and add new again. And over here, let's search for WP Forms. So this is the plugin. Let's install this and activate. Cool, I think we are ready to go. Now we need to create a blank page to replace the home page. But before that, over on the live page, as we refresh, the default Blocksy theme will look like this. And let's go to pages and add new. Let's give this page a name. Let's say this is Rogers and Amanda's wedding. And then let's just publish this blank page. Now I have a reason for that, and I'll explain to you why in a while. But let me right click and open up the WordPress dashboard on the new tab. Now let's go to settings, and under reading, let's go to your home page displays and select this a static page. Now over here for the home page, let's select the blank page we have just created. Now if you didn't publish that page, this would not appear, and that's why we need to do this. Now let's save changes. And as we refresh the live page, this page should look like this. Now we want to hide the title, so let's close this off. Let's go to Blocksy. Let's disable this and update, and let's refresh. And here we go. We have a completely blank page. Cool. I think we are ready to design the header. So let's go. Now to design a header, we have to go back to the WordPress dashboard. Let's go to Appearance and Customize. Let me open this up in a new tab. Now let's go to Header. Now let me give you a walkthrough of how this works. As you can see, you have this My WordPress here. This basically reflects this logo here. And as for the menu and search, if I expand this out to the desktop view, you can see that the menu reflects this. And there is a search over here which reflects this. So for our template, I want to put the logo in the middle. So I will click and drag this to the middle, and you'll see this WordPress shifting here. And as for the menu one, I want to shift it right beside the logo, and then I want to create a new menu too on the right of the logo. So we have it like that, and we don't need the search, so let's clear this off. Now let's first add the logo. Let's click onto it. Let's go here and select a logo, and I'll go to my media library. Now I've preloaded these images, and they are all the images I'll be using in this tutorial. So if you want to follow along this tutorial, feel free to download the images. I've left the link in the description. So for this case, I'll just select this as the logo. Now normally I will add an alt text because this is for SEO purposes, but this is for a wedding, so you don't really need to have your website rank on the search engines. So I'll just leave this out. Let's click on select, and here we go. Now we have this My WordPress here, which reflects this site title. Let's toggle this off, and you will see that My WordPress gone. The logo is a little small, so I will increase the size of it to maybe 100. Now the next step we want to do is to turn this header transparent. As you can see, the header now has a white background, which is a contrast to the page background. So we want to turn this transparent so that it will take the color of the page background. So let's go back, and then let's go to headers, click on global header, and over here we have this transparent functionality. Let's toggle this on, and you can see that the white background is now gone. Now we want this header to stick to the page as we scroll. So over on this sticky functionality, let's toggle this on as well. You can play around with the templates here, and you can add a sticky effect if you want to. Maybe we can add fade. I think we are done here. The next thing we need to do is to change the menu items. And to do that, we have to go back to the WordPress dashboard, and over at Appearance, we want to select menus. We can give this menu a name. So let's say this is main menu 1. We want to check this so that whatever we add to the main menu 1, it will appear right here. By the way, this is the header menu 1, and this is the header menu 2, which is reflected over here. So let's create the menu. Now we want to add some custom links because we don't want our menu item to point to a page. All we need is just one page, and we can add some anchors so that when somebody clicks on the menu, it will go to that particular section. I will show you how to do it in a while, but for now, as for the URL, I'll just put a hashtag, and for the link tags, I will put our story. Let's add to menu. Let's create a couple. So we want these 3 menu items to appear on the left of the logo. Let's save menu, and let's create another menu so that it will appear on the right of the logo. Let's click on this. Let's give this a name, and let's select this header menu too. Let's create the menu. Let's do the same thing. Go to custom links, add a hashtag, add to menu, and let me fast forward this so that I won't be wasting your time. And here we go. We are done with this. Let's save menu, and there is just one more menu we need to create, which is the mobile menu. So let's create the new menu, and let's select this, and let's create the menu. Now the same thing, let's go to custom links and add all the menu items you see from number 1 and number 2. And we're done. Let's save the menu and we can go back to the customizer. Now, whenever we made any changes out of the customizer, we'll definitely need to refresh it. But before that, let's publish this so that all the changes made on this customizer previously will be saved. And now let's refresh this page. And here we go. All the menu items we have just created is now appearing here. Now, I don't like the hover color, and the color of this menu items should be white. I'll explain to you why. But as I turn the menu item text white, you won't see them right away until I add a background to it. So to change the color of this, let's go to colors. Now, this is the global color palette. And if you see this hover color, it's actually taking from these two colors here. So for color 1, I want to change it to this. Let me copy this and let's go to color number 2. Let's paste this here and maybe make it a little darker. You can see that the hover color is taking this color too. Now, I want to turn this menu item text white when it is active. So over here, you can see there's 3 dots here. Let's click on this and it will bring you to the settings. Now let's go to the design, and as you can see over here, the default state is this color which matches this, and let's click on this and turn it white. Let me copy this color code. Now you can see the text is blended with the background. Let's do the same for this. Let's click on this settings here. Let's go to design, and for the initial state, let's make it white. Let me paste the color code here. So cool. Now let's design the mobile header. Click on this off canvas menu. We can go to the design. Over here we can select the menu as mobile. So this is how it looks like right now. Now let's hover to this off canvas and click on this settings, and then let's go to the design. For the panel background, I want to click on this and I want to select color 1, and now this looks better. Well, for the mobile logo, I want to put this in the middle, and in case you want your mobile logo to look different, let's click on this logo. You can change the logo here. So for example, let me click on edit and let me select this, which has a white border. For the logo on desktop, there is no border. So let's select this, and I think we are done for now. If we want to change the size of the mobile logo, we can do so here. Maybe 70 is good. Let's keep it like that. And if we want to change the design of this basically reflects this trigger here. So let's click on this and you can change it to maybe this or this, and we can change the design. So let's make it this, and for the hover we can use this color too, so it will look like this. Cool. I think we are done for the header. Now let's create whatever that is on the page. But before we do anything, we definitely want to see how it looks like on the live page. So let's refresh and see what is happening. This live page is not reflecting what we have added on the customizer. So always remember to publish before we refresh. And here we go. Now let's create whatever that is in the page. So let's go to the blank page we have just created. Remember this? Now we want to click on add block and let's browse all. So over here you will see all the blocks that you can select. The purple ones are from Stackable and the orange ones are from Good to Know. And stackable blocks usually appear at the bottom. We want to select the hero block and we want to select the default layout. Now for the pro version, you'll have more layout options, but we'll just keep it simple. Let's select default. And now let me introduce you to a feature called the list view, which basically shows you all the layers of your web page. And over here you can see that the button is nested under the button group layer, and all these blocks are nested under the hero block. So if I want to turn this hero block into a full width block, I have to select the base layer, which is this. And over here I will click on this change alignment and I will put this full width. Now if we want the settings of this Gutenberg blocks, we need to click on this gear, which will show the settings here. So for the background, we want to make sure we have selected the base layer to add the background. So over here, let's expand this container background and we want to add a background image. Let me select this and let me just update and refresh just to show you how it looks on the live page. Now we want this image and this entire block to shift up. And if you haven't built any websites before, let me introduce you to a concept called padding and margin. And the simplest way to explain this is to go to the editor. We need to click on this block and then over here, let's expand this size and spacing. Now padding basically means the spaces within a block, and then for the margins, it controls the spaces outside of the block. So for example, if we want to push this entire block up, we'll need to meddle with the top margin here. So this is the top, this is the right margin, this is the bottom, and this is on the left. Now to bring this up, we need to have a negative value. So as you can see, as I put a negative value here, this entire block shifted up. Let me update this, and as I refresh, you should see this block shifted up. Maybe 100 is not enough. enough. So now I found that there's a mistake, and let me share with you what it is. So I've placed the background image under the style container background, which is another layer within the block, and that's why you're seeing this space here. So let me remove this container background and let's go to the block and enable this. So over here we want to add the background image, and as I update this, just want to make sure that the negative margin is in place, and let me refresh this. Now there is just one more setting we need to do, which I've totally forgotten. I'm sorry, we learn from mistakes, right? So let's go to the customizer and then let's head back. We want to go to pages, and over here the content area vertical spacing, we want to disable it so that this space over here will be gone. Let's publish this and let's refresh this, and here we go. As we expand this, we can see that the text are appearing now, and this is the reason why I want to put the text white. Let me resize this browser again and let's go back to the page. Now I don't want this text to cover up the couple's faces, so I need to push the top spaces down, and that's where we use the padding. Now you understand what's the meaning of margin. It is just controlling the spaces out of the block, but now we are controlling the spaces within the block. So let's click on this to expand the padding, and from the top we want to add a positive value so that we will push down everything. Let's say I will put this as 250, and as I update and refresh this page, we can now see that the text has now gone down and is not covering up the couple's faces. And if we expand this, it looks great. So cool. Now let me change this text to the couple's name, and let's make this white. Over here on the styles, make sure that the heading block is selected. For the text color, we want to select white, and you'll see the color white here. Now if we want to change the font style of this, let's click on typography, and for the font family, I want to put Playfair. It is not showing right now, but it's okay. If we update and refresh, the text should be reflected on the live page. Next, I want to add a new text. So let's click on this and hit enter so that will create a new line. Let's put this as getting married. And for this text, I want to expand the typography. The size of it, I want to put it 55 to make a statement, or maybe 100. That'll be big enough. And then let's edit the typography. We want to search for the font Alex Brush. And as for the text color, I'm not sure why the color palette is not reflected here. So let's just update this and let me refresh this page. Now let me click on this text again, and the new color palette is now showing. So let's click on this and let me update this and refresh to see how it looks like. I think this is looking cool. We just need to push this down further, or maybe we can just bring this image up, whichever makes sense. So let's say we click on the background. Let's select the block size and spacing. For the margin, we want to push this up, so we'll put this as maybe 250, 300. I think pushing it down makes more sense. So over at the padding, let's put this as 350. Here we go. It looks better now. Now the gap between the name and getting married is a little wide because of the padding here. As you can see, it has a 24 pixels of padding. So let's click on this and just push it up, and it will clear off the padding here. And if we want to bring this up even further, let's click on this getting married and let's go to the block size and spacing. Let's put the top margin maybe -20 or maybe 30, and let's update, and you will see the gap closing in. So this is too much. I'll just put maybe 10. 10 makes sense. So cool. This is looking good. Now I want to put a date right below here, but I don't want this padding. So let's say for this text, I want to change it to October 17, 2021. And let's change the color of this text to white. So let's go to style, under typography, click on this. We'll leave this. Let's change the text color to white. And here we go. Now the text that I usually like to use is Poppins. So let's click on edit. On the font family, let's search for Poppins over here. Cool. Now we want to change the button here. So let's click on it. Let's go to button colors. We want to select this pink just to match everything. And if we want to add an icon, we can just expand this, and maybe we can just search for an icon, maybe party. We have this right here. So let's click on this, and we can position this on the right, and it will be reflected here. For the button text, let's change this to where, because it just makes sense, right? We are getting married on this date, and I want to know where it is. So if your page visitor clicks on this, it will bring them to the location. Now I want to add a cool divider right after this button. So I'll just click on this button, and over here you can see an add block. Let's click on this, and I want to add an image. Let's go to the media library. Let me upload files. There is this border here. I'll click on it and let's select. Now this is a little too big, so let me just click on this, and as I scroll up, you can see that the image becomes smaller. So let me update this and refresh, and here we go. I think we are done with the hero section. Let's move on to the next. Now over on the page, let's click on the white area and let's add a new block. I will search for heading and I will choose the stackable heading. Let's align this center, and under style, I'll go to the typography and change this to Playfair. I want this text to be a dark color and I want the size to be big, so maybe 55. Now let's change this text to the date of the wedding, and then next I want to add another text. So let's select this stackable text. If you don't see this here, you can just search for text and this will appear. Let's click on this, align it center, and let's type in the location. As for the size of this, I will put this maybe 23. This looks good, and I will select this darker color. Now the next thing we want to do is to add a countdown block. So let's click on this add block. Let's browse all, and under the Good Thunder blocks, we'll go to the widgets and select this countdown widget. So over on the right, under the settings, let's expand the block title, which is reflected over here. We do not want that, so let's toggle this off. And then for the block items, let's click on this and let's set the date and time. Let's click on this, and then as for the time, let's put this as 8 AM. Let's start the countdown. Now let's update this and refresh the live page just to see how it looks like. Let me expand this. Now we need to fix this in a while, maybe towards the end of the video. So this looks awesome. Now all that's left is to add a button here. Let's click on add block and let's search for button. I'll use a stackable button and I will align it center, but don't worry about this. As you click away, the button will go to the center. Now over here, I want to change the text to RSVP now, and as for the button colors, I want to select this. So cool. The next thing we want to do is to add an accordion to show all the accommodations near the hotel in case your guests want to stay over after the wedding. So let's click on add block and browse all. Let's scroll down all the way and we'll see this accordion here. Let's select this. I will select this plain layout, and then as for this, I will put this as need accommodation, and then as for the size of the text, I'll put this maybe 20 and I'll try to align the center. And then next, as you click on the accordion, this will expand out. So what I want to do is to delete this text, but I will add a new block. Let's browse all. Let's go down all the way till we find our columns over here. Let's click on this and let's select 3 columns. Now let's add a new block within each column. Let's browse all, scroll down all the way till we find something called cut over here. Let's click on this. I'll select the default layout and then I'll add an image here. Now I will select this and then I will change the text to Airbnb or whatever accommodation that is near your location. Change the text color and then align this center. I'll remove this subtitle block, and then as for the text here, I'll just put in some filler text. And then as for the button, change the button color, change the text, align it center. So this is done, and what we need is to duplicate this onto these 2 columns. So what we need to do is to click on this options and copy. Now over here on the next column, let's just add a paragraph first so that we can right click and paste it in here. Now let's change the image to, let's say, this, and change the name. Now I feel the text is a little too big for bold, so maybe I'll just put it as 25. Now if you want to add some image effect, let's say you want to turn this into a grayscale image, let's click on this image and let's go to styles. Let's expand this image, and as we scroll down, we can see that there is this image filter here. Let's click on this and maybe we want to change this to grayscale over here. You see there are a lot more image filters here. You can play around with it, and for this image we will do the same thing. Cool. Now let's select this card and let's copy this block, head over to the next column and select paragraph. Let's right click and paste it here, change the image to this, change the text, and we are basically done for this. Let's update this. Let's refresh. We have something like this, but over here this is too wide between this arrow and this accommodation. This looks okay, so we need to bring this closer to the middle. On mobile, this looks fine, so let's click on this. When we align this center, it doesn't work, so let's see what's happening. Let's open up the list view, click on this icon label, and if we go to the block, let's open up the size and spacing. Now for the max content width, maybe we can play with this. Let's say that we change the unit to percentage and we'll put this maybe 50%. You see this is closing into the middle. So let's update this and let's see how it looks like on the live page. So on mobile, we want to have a different content width. Let's go to mobile. Let's put this as 100%. So let's update this and refresh. Now it works for the mobile now. Let me expand this to the desktop version. Now this looks fine, but it just needs to cram up a little bit more. So over here, let's select desktop. Let's bring this down to 30. Now it works better now. Let's click on this and we have the accommodations here. Cool. I think we are done with this section. Now there is just one more thing we need to do here. As you can see, I've selected this heading. So if we go to advanced, and under advanced, you can see this HTML anchor. We want to add some text to this. So let's say we want to put this as where, and then let's update this. Now before that, we need to click on this button, and then for the text, we want to put a hashtag where and click on this. Let's update, refresh. Let's check it out. If I click on this where, it will bring us down to this section. So this is how anchor text work. We will add the anchor text link to the menu items in a while. Now let's continue with the next section. Now this next section is easy. Let's click on add block and let's search for separator. Over here, this is a stackable block. Let's click on this and you'll see this cool separator over here. Now let's expand this and you can see we have all these layout options. I will choose maybe this and I will choose the color to pink. And then as we hover here, we can see there is some padding over here. We want to remove it so that we can join the background of the next section. Now I want to change this to full width, which it already is. Let's go to the next line over here. Let's add a new block and let's search for timeline over here. Let's select this. Now we want to change this to full width as well. Let's go to block title. We want to change the style. Let's say the typography. We want to change the font type to Google and we will search for Playfair or actually the Alex brush. And for the size, let's put this as 55. The block title, we'll put this as our story. We want to change the color of this text to white. Then let's expand the block items. For the style, let's not worry about this now. Let's change the background color over here. We want to go to the main widget's advanced setting. Let's click on this and let's go to background. Let's change this to color. Let's select this so that it matches the color of the separator. And let's see how it looks like right now. Let's update this and refresh the live page. And you can see the gap is closed up. It doesn't look like this, which is cool. Now we need to shift this our story down because it is just too close to the separator, I feel. So again, on the advanced settings, over at margin and padding, for the top padding, because we want to control the space within the block. So for the top padding, let's select this pixels. Let's add maybe a 50 pixels of padding and you'll see there are more spaces here. Let's update this and refresh and here we go. Now let's add our story here. So let's say Roger and Amanda met in December 2015 and then for the title we'll put in a subway. We'll add some filler text just like this. So I'll just copy this and place it here. Obviously you can add a real story, but this is just for an example. Now we want to add a new item. So in June 2016, they started dating and we started as strangers. Add the filler text here. Let's add a new item. Now in January 2017, they got their first pet. How sweet. And then the pet's name is Lucky. Then let's add the filler text and let's add a new item. We want to make the story real. So in December 2017, this is their rough patch. Life was tough. And then let's add a new item. In January 2021, he proposed on a mountain. And then on October 17, 2021, we are getting married. Here we are. So cool. This is the entire story. If we want to change the color of it, because this doesn't really look nice, let's head over to the block items. Now let's go to styles. For the timeline heading, let's select this color, enable color. We want to make it white. And as you can see, this is the timeline heading. If you want, you can change the typography as well, but we'll move on to the next. Let's go to the duration, which is over here. Let's change the color to white as well. And then for the content, I want to make this white. Sorry, I want to make this to the darker pink. For the settings, the line color, I think this is fine, but if you want to change it to maybe something like this, that's totally fine as well. The item title, which is this, let's change this to white. And as for the description, let's change this to white as well. And then you can change the color of the circle under the timeline settings. So maybe you want to change it to this. It'll look nicer like that. So here we are. We have completed the timeline section. Let's update this, refresh, and we have a cool looking section right here. Obviously, you can change the text and play with the design of this. Now over here, you can see that the line is extending, so we need to add padding from here. So let's scroll up over at the timeline widget. Let's click on advanced. Let's go to margin and padding. At the bottom padding, we want to add maybe 50 pixels of padding. Let's update and refresh. Doesn't work. Actually, it is working. It is just that this is on the mobile view, so we need to click on the mobile view. For the bottom, let's add 50 50 pixels. And at the top, let's add another 50 pixels. Let's update and refresh. You'll see it like this. And there are more spaces here as well. And if we put this up to the desktop view, you can see that this expands to the full width, which is not what we want. So we gotta change it. Now over here, the padding, we don't want to mess with the mobile padding. Let's go to the desktop. On the right, let's add maybe 80. And on the left, let's add another 80. Let's update this. Let's expand to the desktop view and refresh. It's getting closer. But if you want to make it even narrower, you can do so by adding more padding. So maybe 150 on the left and right, and refresh this. This looks a lot better. And we're done with this section. Let's go to the next. Alright, now we want to add an image gallery here. So let's go back to our WordPress editor. And before we do anything else, let's add a separator here. Let's search for separator and let's click on this. Now we want this section to appear above so that we will have a nice blend. What we need to do is to toggle this on, and here we go. Let's expand this and let's select the color. Let's update, refresh, and let's see how it looks right now. So we have a gap here, and what we need to do is to click on this and let's go to the block under size and spacing. We need to have a negative top margin. Let's update this and refresh. We should see the gap merging together. So cool, we are ready to add the image gallery here. Let's click on this add block and let's add a heading. Let's centralize this text. Let's put a header like this. Then we want to change the font style to Alex Brush, close this off, and we want to put the size as maybe 55. And then next, let's add another block, browse all under the Gutenberg. Now there are two ways to display your images. You can either use the gallery block or you can use the slider, but I will show you both. Let's say that we select gallery and then let's click on this, expand the settings. Over here, you can select 3 columns or 6. It's really up to you. And then we want to go to each of the columns and add block. Now the thing about Gutenberg is that when you use one of their blocks, you can only add blocks from Gutenberg within it. It is unlike Stackable, where you can add columns and you can add blocks from other plugins. So this is a weakness of Gutenberg. But anyway, we want to browse all. We don't see any images here from the Gutenberg blocks because we have turned it off. So let's go back to the WordPress dashboard, and under Gutenberg, we want to select blocks. And then let's search for image. Let's toggle this on. Go back to the page. Let's update this first and then let's refresh. And then as we add block here, we'll see the image block here. Let's click on this. Let's upload an image. Let's say we select this. Let's select the gallery layer, or you can open up the list view and select this gallery layer. I want to open up the settings. I want to enable pop-up. So when somebody clicks on this image, it will pop up for a larger view. Let's add more images. Here we go. We want to add another column so that we can add more images, and we are done. Let's update and refresh and let's see how it looks right now. So we have all these images. Quite cool. This is how it looks on mobile, and as we expand it out, it looks like this. Looks kind of cool. So if we click on one of the images, not sure why it can't be loaded, but it's supposed to be. I guess this is a bug from Gutenberg. So our only option is to either toggle this off or just open this up. Now, okay, let's remedy this. Let's go to the layer under the gallery. Let's select this single column layer, and then let's go over to pop-up option. So the pop-up media is an image, and let's upload that image. Make sure that it's a matching image. Let's select this, and then let's try this. Let's update and refresh. As we click on this, yep, the image is now showing. Cool. So that's how you do it. Let's do it again. Let's go to another column, select this, and under pop-up option, we want to select an image that matches the small image snippet. Let's do the same for the other columns, but I'll just fast forward this process and we're done. Let's update this, refresh. So if I click on this, it's appearing. All these other photos work as well. Cool. This is one way to display your images. The other way is through a slider. So let's say if we don't want this, but I'll just leave this on. You can add a new block. Let's browse all. Let's select this slider. And what you need to do is to click on this, expand the settings, and then you choose an image. This is the first image. And then you want to add slide, upload another image, add another slide. So let me fast forward this process. And we're done. So let's go to the overall slider setting. And the slide speed is basically the speed of transition between two images. Let me show you an example. So this 300 means that the transition will happen in 300 milliseconds. milliseconds. But if I want to make this a transition of 5 seconds, which is very long, let's put this as 5000. As we update this and refresh, we're gonna see the slider here, but if you click on this arrow, it takes 5 seconds for the next image to appear. That's what it means. So if you don't want the transition to be that long, let's say maybe 800 milliseconds, it will look like this. It's much better. So it really depends on how you want to display your images. I'm pretty sure there are more ways to do this. It is really up to your preference. And the last thing we want to do is to add a divider here. So let's go back to the WordPress editor, add a block, select this separator. If you don't see this here, just search for it. And we're basically done. Let's update, refresh. We're done here. The next step is for us to add the groomsman and the bridesmaid here. So let's go to the next section. Now let's go back to our WordPress editor, and then over here we want to add a new block. Let's first add a heading. Let's say this is groomsman, make this centralized, change the typography to Alex Brush, make the size 55. And then next we want to add an image. Let's go to the media library. I think I have to upload a file. So let's select files, and then I want to add this divider. Let's select, and we want to centralize this and make the image small. Now because there is a gap here, let's reduce the padding. And if we want to bring this image up a little bit more, let's go to the block setting, under size and spacing, the bottom margin, we want to put this as something negative. So maybe -30. The next thing we want to do is to click here and add a new block. Let's browse, or we want to select the carousel block. Let's go to the list view. Under carousel, we want to open up the settings. For the slides to show, I want to show 1. And for the slides to scroll, I want to select 1 as well, because I want to display 1 groomsman or 1 bridesmaid one at a time. So that's what this means. Now let's click on add block over here. And again, we can only add blocks from Gutenberg. So let's select advanced columns. We'll select this, or maybe 5, 7, and then let's add a new block here. Let's select an image. Let's select this, and then over here, let's add a heading. Let's say the name of this groomsman is Daniel Goodman, and then he's the best man. Let's bring this up a little. We want to bold this, and then we want to add some text here. Maybe you can describe your groomsman, but for this case, this is a template, so I'll just add some filler text, and we're done with the first groomsman. Let's do the next. Let's add block and select advanced columns. Let's select this just to be consistent. Add another block. Select image, and let's select the image of the next groomsman. We want to add a heading. His name is Michael Dean. This is his description. And as for the next groomsman, let's add a new block. Select advanced columns. Select this. Add an image. Add a heading. His name is Barry Grossman. This is his description. And we are done. Let's update this and let's see how it looks like right now. So as you can see, there is something wrong here, and that's because if we go back to the single column, we need to select this overall carousel settings, and then right here, the basic options. We have edited the desktop version, so if we go to the desktop version, it looks like this. Now here's the error. Let's fix this first. Let's click on the advanced columns over here. We want to select the advanced columns that contains all these blocks. Let's copy this, and then we want to remove this block. We want to add a new carousel item. So as you can see, these dotted lines here, this represent one carousel item. And over here, we can see that these are nested under one, so we need to break them up. We want to make sure to add a block over here. Let's add a paragraph so that we can right click and paste the blocks we have just copied. Now let's do the same thing for this. Let's select the advanced columns. Let's copy, remove this block, and then right here, let's add a paragraph and paste it here. Now this should work. Let's update this and let's refresh. Now over here we have Daniel Goodman, Barry Grossman, and Michael Dean. This is the desktop version, and if we go to the mobile version, you will see it looking like this. There are a lot of spaces here and it feels like an error. So let's click on the carousel layer, which is right here. Let's switch this to the mobile version. As you can see, slides to show, there are two columns which is represented by one here and one here. So we need to put this as one, and as for the tablet version, we have to change it to one as well. So as we update and refresh, this is what we want. And as you can see here, this is the mobile version. We are basically skipping somebody because the slides to scroll is 2. So we are basically skipping one person. So we have to change this to 1. Make sure that every view that is 1 is to 1. So let's update again and refresh. It should be what we are looking for. and we are right. Now there's an additional carousel item over here. We need to remove this so that we won't have a blank space here. Alright, cool. Next we want to do the same thing for the bridesmaid. So instead of creating everything from scratch, we can just copy and paste. So let's say for this heading, let's copy this. Let's scroll down here, right click and paste. Let's change the title and then let's select this image, copy, paste. Next, let's select this carousel. Make sure that everything is selected here, copy, paste. Now let's edit. Her name is Kelly Root. She is the maid of honor. Her name is Stephanie Tolles, and then finally we have Samantha Howell. Let's update, refresh, and we have basically created this bridesmaids and groomsmen section easily. And before we end this section, let's add a separator. Let's select maybe this, let's update, and we are done. Now right here, it seems that the separator and the background has two tones of white. Let's fix this. We want to go back to our WordPress customizer and let's go to pages, and under design, the page background, we want to make sure that it is white. Let's publish this and refresh. We should now see the background of the divider blending in. So cool, we are done with this section, just making sure that the desktop view looks nice, which it is. The next step is to add a GIF section here. So let's go. Okay, now let's go back to the WordPress editor, and then over here we want to add a heading, but we don't want to restyle it, so let's just copy this and right click, paste it here. Over here we want to call this GIFs, and then next we want to add a new block. Let's search for something called card, select this, and then let's select this default layout. Let's add an image, let's upload a file. For this case we'll use Bitbuff and Beyond. Now there are many places for you to add a registry. You can have a registry on Bitbuff and Beyond, you can have it on Amazon. So what I would do is in the description, I'm going to add links to some popular places for you to create a registry. And for this case, we have selected Bitbuff and Beyond. We want to remove this title block, and then I'm just going to add some text over here. I'll remove this subtitle block as well, and let me paste in the text here. I'll remove the button as well. Let's update, and then over on our live page, let's refresh. This is a little too white, and as for the GIFs, we want to add some padding here, so that's what we're gonna do. Let's go to GIFs, and over at padding, let's open this up. Maybe we can just remove this margin, and it will work just fine. For the image, let's select image feed. We want to put this as maybe cover, or maybe contain, and then next, we want to go to the block setting under size and spacing. Over at the max content width, we want to put this as maybe 60% for the desktop, and then as for the tablet, we'll make this 100%, and as for the mobile, we will make this 100% as well. So now let's update this and see how this looks. I think this is looking fine on the mobile. Let's expand this, and this is how it looks like on the desktop. You can even fix this narrower by maybe giving this max content width 40% on the desktop version. I think this looks better. There is just one more last section we need to do, and it's the most important one of all. It's the RSVP. And before that, as always, let's add a separator here. Let's select this. Now the background of the separator, I want it to be pink. Let's update this, and we are done. Let's go to RSVP. Now as for the RSVP, we need to rely on a separate plugin. At the start of this video, I recommended you to install a plugin called WP Forms, but as I tried it again, it seems that you have to upgrade to the Pro version for you to see all the RSVP entries, and that's what we are trying to avoid. We want to try to do everything for free other than the web hosting. So let's go back to the WordPress editor and let's go to plugins. Let's select this installed plugins. We want to remove this WP Forms, so let's deactivate and delete. And then next we want to add new. Over here we want to search for Ninja Forms. We want to install this and activate. And once activated, you'll see this menu item here. What you want to do is to add new. Let's select not now. And then these are the pre-made forms. Let's search for something that we can use. Let's say it is for the event registration. Let's select this, and then we'll be collecting first name, last name, email, all these standard items. If you want to remove this, just hover to the settings and you will see this trash bin here. This is standard, this is cool as well. And then over here, if you expand this, this is basically a map. So if we expand the code, you can see that this is the Google Maps code over here. But don't worry, you don't need to understand any codes. You just need to go to another website like this. I will place this link in the description as well. And what you need to do is just to search for your address here. And then as you click on this get HTML code, you can just copy everything here. Let's go back to your form builder, select this iframe, and then you want to delete this. this, and then next you want to paste in the code here. So you don't need everything. All you need is just the iframe and whatever that is in it. So starting from here, as you can see, there is this iframe here, which is the start of the iframe, and then we have the close of the iframe. So whatever that is out of it, we can delete it away. So that's all we need here. Let's click on done, and let's click on this as well. So these are some text that you can edit. It is really up to you whether you want to edit this or not, but otherwise I'll just click on done and publish. And once published, we can go back to our WordPress dashboard, and let's click on the dashboard of Ninja Forms. You can see there is a new form added here. So this is the shortcode we need to copy. Let's click on Ctrl C or Command C if you're on Apple, and then let's go to the page. Now over here I want to add a column, so let's search for column. Let's select the stackable columns. We want to select one column. Let's go to the block, open up the background. We want to select this, reduce the padding so that the background will blend, and then next let's add a block here. We want to search for shortcode. Select this, right click, paste the code here. Let's update this, and as we refresh the page, we can see the event registration here, but the pink background is not taking full width, so we need to select the column, which is right here, the top column, and we want to select full width. Updates, refresh, and here we go. We even have a map here. So let's try to add some details in. Let's write some gibberish here. 3-person, I'm a vegetarian, I like to drink beer, and let's register. Okay, it is done. Let's see where you get that information. Let's go over to your WordPress dashboard. Under Ninja Forms, you want to select submissions. Over here, let's select a form. This is the form we have just created, and here we go. We have the information right here. So this is a free feature of Ninja Forms where you have to pay for it in WP Forms, and that's why I'm recommending Ninja Forms here. So cool. I think we are almost done. There is just one last section here, and then we can add the links of the menu items. Because right now, as you can see, if you click on this, it will go back to the top and it will not go to the section. So let's go and create the footer, and then we'll go to the links. Okay, to edit the footer, we need to go to the WordPress customizer. If you forgot how to get here, just remember to go to your WordPress dashboard, and under appearance, you can click on customize and it will lead you to this page. So let's go back all the way, and what we need to do is to select footer. And over here, you can see this is the copyright text that reflects this. What we want is to remove this My WordPress. So over here, powered by, we want to remove this. And if you look at this, this is the code to draw information from site title. So let's not change this. Let's go back, and then let's scroll down. We can see this site identity. Let's select this. This information, My WordPress, is drawing information from here. So if we change this, Roger and Amanda's wedding, and as for the tagline, let's change to this. Let's publish, and as we go to the live page and refresh, we should see the copyright text like this. So let's go back to the footer. Let's select this, and maybe if you want to impress your audience, you can just write designed by us. Let's publish this and refresh. So it looks like this. And the next thing is we want to make this background pink. Let's click on edit, go to design, row background, select this pink here. So let's publish this again and refresh. This looks cool, but if I want the text to be white, we can just go to the footer. Sorry, we can click on the copyright and let's go to the design. For the font color, I want to make this white. And as I publish and refresh, you can see the text turning white. So that's basically it. I think we have covered everything except for the menu links and probably this sticky header menu. So let's do some final touch up and we'll end this tutorial. Now let's go to the customizer and let's go to header. Click on headers, select this global header, and then we want to select this menu item 1. Let's go to design. As for the sticky state, we want to click on this. And we want to make this a dark color, for example this. Let's copy this color code, and then as you hover, we want the pink color. Let's do the same for menu 2. Let's go to design. For the sticky state, we want to paste the color code, and as we hover, we want the pink. Let's publish, and as we go to the live page and refresh. So this is how it looks right now. This is awesome. Now we need to create the links. So let's go back to the page. Remember, in this section, under Advanced, we have created a HTML anchor. So whenever we click on this button, it will lead to this section here. So let's scroll down further. And over here, we want to go to Advanced. And under Advanced, we have this little problem here because this is a block from Gutenberg. So maybe we need to select a block from Stackable and go to Advanced. under the HTML anchor, we can put as story. And then let's scroll down further. Under wedding photos, let's go to advanced and let's put this as photo. And over here, the groomsmen, under advanced, we want to put groomsmen. And as for the bridesmaids, let's put the HTML anchor like this. For the gifts, let's put it as gifts. And as for the RSVP, let's put it as RSVP. So let's update this. And then the next thing we want to do is to go back to the WordPress dashboard. Let's go to appearance and menus. Over here under our story, for this URL, remember we have a HTML anchor called story. And then as for the photos, we have a HTML anchor as photo. For the groomsmen as well, let's save this menu. And then let's go to menu 2. For the bridesmaids, if you forgot the HTML anchor, you can always go back to the page, select the block where you place the anchor, you can just copy this and place it here. Make sure that there is a hashtag in front of it. And then as for the gifts and the RSVP, let's save this menu. And the last thing is we want to edit the mobile menu. So this is a combination of everything. Okay, we are done. Let's save the menu. And as we go to the live page and refresh, we can check this out. This is the mobile menu. Let's go to our story. It will bring us here. If we select groomsmen, it will bring us here. If we select when, it will bring us here. RSVP is here. And let's check out the menu items. Our story, photos, groomsmen, bridesmaids, when, gifts, RSVP, we are done. Now there is just one more last thing to do, which is to add a preloader for this site. So we need to go to plugins and add new, and let's search for the plugin called WP Smart Preloader. And this is the plugin we need. Let's install this and activate. And as we go to the settings, we will see this WP Smart Preloader here. Let's click on this. Now, the reason I'm using this instead of some other popular plugins is because I can't find a heart-shaped preloader. Over in this plugin, they have quite a few presets, but they are not exactly what we want. I mean, if we want to use this, we can do that, but I would prefer a heart-shaped loader. So I will use custom animations, and we don't need to code from scratch because someone else has did the job for us. I'll leave this link in the description as well. So here it is. As we scroll down, we have this HTML document. Let's click on copy, and then let's go here. Under the HTML section, we want to paste this here. And then let's copy the CSS files here. Let's copy and go over here. Let's paste it here. Now the duration of the loader, I want it to be maybe 1 second. So it's 1000 milliseconds. And for it to fade out, I want it to be maybe 1000 milliseconds as well. And let's save changes. And let's check it out. Let's refresh this. We have this loader here. And as the page loads, all the page elements will appear. But what if we want to change the color of the loader? Let's grab the color code. Let's go to the appearance and customize. And then let's go to colors. Let's copy this color code. And then let's over at the custom CSS, let's scroll down a little. And over here, you can see that there is this color code here under the .preloader. We want to highlight this, delete, and paste the color code we want. Over here as well, let's paste it here. And let's save changes and refresh. As you can see, the preloader is now pink. So that's basically it. Now I'm going to show you how to upload this entire page onto a blank WordPress site. Now for you guys and girls who wants this template for free, I believe you should have seen a prompt of the download link. I'm now going to show you how you can use that download. So what I'm showing you here is a blank WordPress install on another domain. Let me log into the backend. Now I'm currently hosting this website on SiteGround, so you'll see all these additional plugins. But generally, if you host your site on other web hosting provider, they'll have a certain set of plugins. So what I recommend you do is to delete all of them. And then next, we want to add a new plugin. We want to search for WP Vivid, and let's install this and activate this. Now once activated, you'll be brought to this page, and what we want to do is to click on this upload. Let's drag in the file we have just downloaded and let's upload this. Let's give it a while for it to upload, and when this is done, we gotta restore this. But before I restore this, let me show you how this site looks right now. As you know, this is a blank install. So as I restore this, and then let's go to the page again and refresh it, we'll see everything here. Cool, right? I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and thank you for watching this. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial and feel free to share with me your thoughts on this. Also, if you can do me a little favor and smash that thumbs up button, that would be amazing. Remember to check out the links in the description. I have made many references in the video and they can be found in the description. If your wedding is happening soon, congratulations again. I hope this video helped, and if you're doing this for someone else, I hope they will appreciate you. All the best to you. Take care, and as always, stay safe.